Hey everybody, I am Greg, and this is kind of a new sort of podcast I'm trying called ride sharing. So I actually travel a lot for work, and I tend to have interesting conversations with my Uber drivers or Lyft drivers or whatever public transit I happen to be on. And I thought, you know what, maybe I could try recording these things. And so here it is. Here's the first one. I was in Kansas City, happened to have a conversation with this fine fellow named Kevin. He is Kansas City through and through. He was head to toe Kansas City Chiefs kid. He had Kansas City Chiefs covers on his car seats. So I figured he would be a good person to talk about KC. Anyway, this one, it is recorded inside of a car driving. So you are going to hear road noise. You're going to hear his GPS talk. To me, it kind of, I don't know, man. I like the atmosphere. I like the way it kind of makes me feel. It's like you're right there in the environment. So this is where I'm curious, and I would love your feedback. Does the road noise drive you crazy? Do I need to do some additional canceling? Obviously, I've done some noise canceling to knock it down a little bit. But do I need to change it a little bit more? Leave something comment-wise on any of my socials, or you can just drop me an email at greg@gregsowell, and that's SOWELL.com. So thanks, and I hope you enjoy this conversation with Kevin. All right, Kevin. So we're here in Kansas City, right? This is actually my first trip here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm taking you're a native from your attire and...
Pretty much, my whole life. Yeah, I live in Olathe, Kansas. Olathe is my hometown. I graduated high school there back in '73 and been around ever since.
Gotcha. Well, what keeps you in Kansas?
I'm a Kansas boy. It's the people, the towns, it's pretty laid back. It's a great place to raise kids. I raised all mine here. They're my three kids. And, it doesn't have all the high crime and everything like that some of the other cities do. And it's just, you walk down the street, people will wave at you, smile, say hi. Sometimes if you're in the city somewhere, you can't even look at anybody, much less wave and say hi to them. They think you're weird.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's something I've noticed about, I don't know, would you consider Kansas City the South?
I wouldn't, no.
No? You'd say it's more northern or eastern. What would you call it?
We're Midwest is what we're pretty much in the center of the United States. So, we're right in the middle, north, south, east, west. If you put it all together, it's going to be somewhere in the state of Kansas is the center of the United States.
All right.
But,
well, Midwesterners are notoriously friendly, right?
Yes. Yes, which is what I like about it.
Because I know in the South, people say that we're all nice, but it's sometimes like a fake nice.
Yeah, it kind of depends on where you're at, I guess.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger cities are, but I think it's, and I don't have a lot of experience about, Texas and, all the southern states and everything, but, they're more like reserved friendly, I think.
Yeah.
They'll say hi to you, but, Kansas, we'll just, hey, what's going on? If you want to have a conversation, most of the time they'll do it.
That's cool. That's what I'm always looking for, just people to share their experiences with me.
Yeah.
So you said born and raised. I guess you're surrounded by family here then.
Yeah. Yep. My the only one that left alive is my mom. My stepdad, who I call my real dad, he came along. I was in about 7th grade and kind of set me on a better path than what I was on, because I was on a bad path. And he come along and taught me what a man's supposed to be like and what he's supposed to act like, and and all that. And he passed away. My wife's parents, they both passed away, and now my 90-year-old mom is the only one around. So.
You said 7th grade he came along?
Yeah.
Man, was that pretty tough? Because by 7th grade, you already probably kind of have a chip on your shoulder. You don't.
Well, I love my mom and everything, but she had been married like 4 or 5 times, and my stepdad, I think, was number 5. and the previous four were pretty much alcoholics anyway, so they weren't real good role models.
Yeah.
And my stepdad, he came along, and he was a great role model, and he took care of his family, he took care of his business, and he was a good guy, and like I said, showed me what it's like to have a real family type of thing, and if it wasn't for him, I'd probably be in jail right now.
God, you reckon?
Yeah, I was breaking into cars and stealing stuff. I was doing all kinds of stupid stuff. But
was that your friend group you were hanging out with that kind of got you into that mess?
No, pretty much just me.
Just being wild.
Yeah. I was kind of a loner kid back then. I imagine if they'd have known of such a thing, I imagine I would have been a ADHD or something like that back then. But yeah, like I said, my dad came along, and yeah, it's been good ever since. So
that's cool. What are some of your favorite memories with him? Did you guys used to go fishing and stuff like that?
Yeah, we used to go hunting and fishing, and my grandparents, my stepdad, my step-grandparents, I guess you'd call them, they had a farm down, I don't know, somewhere around Sedalia, Missouri, and I got to meet them, briefly, before they passed on, because they were getting up there, and we used to go down there and hunt and fish, and I'd help them bale hay and stuff like that, which I'd never ever done before. I was pretty much a city boy, and I just had a good time, going through high school and playing football. I love football, still do. I don't play it anymore. I'm too old for that, but out of shape. But yeah, I used to love playing football. And
what was it about playing football that you liked so much?
I'm sorry?
What is it about football that you enjoyed so much?
The camaraderie with the other, the team, all the member, all the guys you meet and everything, and I just loved hitting people. Legally, I can knock the crap out of somebody and not get arrested or get in trouble for it. Of course, they get knocked the crap out of me too, but
yeah,
that was kind of the challenge. I just love the sport. I always have. Ever since I was a little kid, my mom told me a story about when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I guess. She said I was pretty wild running around, and like I said, that probably had that ADHD, and I was always just never stopped. And she said one time my uncle took me to a local football game down in Riverton, Kansas, which is way down in the southeast corner of the state of Kansas. And I mean, way down there, almost to Oklahoma and almost to Missouri. And yeah, she said my uncle took me to a football game, a high school football game down there. And she said that's the first time or whatever that she can remember that I actually sat down and didn't move or didn't do anything, for like 2 or 3 hours while she said I couldn't take my eyes off the game. So even back that young, I guess I was a fan. Of course, I don't remember any of that, but
that's cool. Well, it's beautiful out here, man. I see trees changing colors.
Oh yeah, it's happening. Now we've last week it was like 80, 85. This week the high is going to be, or like today, the high is only supposed to be like 50, 55. So that's the Midwest. That's Kansas. That's Missouri. There's one day it's really warm. Next day it's like almost freezing. So.
Well, I guess this time of year is where you come up on hunting season, right? It starts getting cold.
Yeah, I don't hunt anymore, but I have a couple of grandkids that go out, deer hunting and turkey hunting and stuff like that all the time.
You too old to sit out in the cold?
Yeah. I'm just like, that's a young man's game. I mean, there's a lot of people older than me still do it, but I just, I did it, but I enjoyed it, but it really wasn't my thing. So But yeah, if this is your first time in Kansas City, you got to make sure you try some of our Kansas City barbecue.
Man, that's what everybody's always talking about.
Oh, it's the best, man. It's the best.
So I'm from Texas, so of course everybody there says their barbecue's the best.
And it's different. Texas barbecue is good, but for my taste, the Kansas City barbecue, I don't think there's a better barbecue in the world than Kansas City. It's just got from what I understand, and I don't know, but I don't remember eating barbecue in Kansas or in Texas. I know I've done it, but I just don't remember. But Texas is more of a smoky, vinegary type of flavor, where the Kansas City barbecue is more of a sweet, savory type of, flavor to it. So, yeah, I'll put Kansas City up against anybody, anywhere.
I also lived for about a year in Memphis, and they're really proud of their barbecue there.
They were good. I ate in Memphis. We went down to, my wife and I went down to Graceland on a vacation one time, and we stopped at Graceland, to see Elvis's old digs.
Yeah, yeah.
And we spent the night there, and we stayed right there close to where Graceland was, and because we bought the VIP tour type of thing, and you couldn't do all that in one day. I mean, it just, if you wanted to see things, you had to take your time and go through it, and that meant spending the night. And we went down, just down the street from Elvis's house, from Graceland, and there was a barbecue joint there that looked pretty good, so we stopped in there and ate, and we walked in, and there's Elvis plastered all over, and the owner of the restaurant, he said, yeah, when Elvis was alive, that they always had somebody on call 24 hours a day, because he'd call down there and say, hey, I've got whatever guest or something like that, and he'd order up for everybody, order a whole bunch, and that's where Elvis got his barbecue, and it was good. I mean, it really was. I can't say anything bad about Memphis or Texas or any of those places, but I don't think any of it compares to Kansas City's barbecue.
I've noticed, I think part of it's tied into nostalgia. It's like what you grew up eating becomes kind of your go-to. It's like what your palate defines as, this is what barbecue should taste like, or this is what XYZ should taste like. So there's kind of nothing like eating what you had growing up.
Yeah. Well, and when I was a kid, I don't remember eating a whole lot of barbecue or anything. I didn't really start thinking about barbecue and everything until I was older, and started basically thinking for myself, and I'm paying for this dinner, so where do I want to go type of thing. And so but yeah, Kansas City barbecue is always, to me, has always been the best barbecue any place I go to.
Now here's a rumor, I don't want to start a fight, but I've always heard that Kansas City barbecue, they try and do more with the sauce than they do with the meat. Well, so they pay more attention, like it's more about the sauce than it is
the rubs and the sauces. Yep.
You'd say that's
and that's why I say it's more like a sweet flavor, because our barbecue sauces are more of a, the barbecue that I like, their sauces are sweeter, not quite as, like I said, vinegary, smoky, that kind of thing as some of the other places I've eaten it at. And it's all a matter of, your personal taste. But I tell people, my riders, all the time, there's 3 main restaurants here in Kansas City. There's a lot of them, but there's 3, what I call the big 3 here in town. I don't know if I can mention those or not. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell everybody, I tell you what, I don't know where you get your barbecue or anything, but you go to one of them restaurants and I'll guarantee you, of course, I just met you and I'll probably not see you again, but,
yes, sir.
I tell people, I said, hey, you go to eat at one of them 3, if you don't like it, I'll pay for it. That's how confident I am of their food, because they're the best in town right now. So
what are the big 3? What are they?
Oh, okay. Q39.
Q39.
Okay, that's kind of a upper scale a little bit. That's where like the Chiefs and the Royals and people that have a lot of money type of place. Then you got Peoria's Jack Stack, and they're good. I mean, they're kind of in the middle. Then you got Joe's Barbecue, which is my personal favorite, and they're more of a, you got wooden tables to sit down on benches and stuff, and you go in, and they've got the best food, best barbecue in the world. But there was a big magazine, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it's Newsweek or People or who it was, but they sent a reporter around to all the 48 states. They didn't go to Alaska or Hawaii, but they did the other. They sent a reporter around to go to every single state and find the best barbecue in those states. And then he did a rating of everybody. And Q39, Jack Stacks, and Joe's, those three were in that guy's top 10. And Joe's was number 1. He rated Joe's best barbecue place in America. And, and they've got, Joe's burnt ends are the best I've ever had. And I would highly recommend. There's a lot of other places. Arthur Bryant, he started barbecue in Kansas City pretty much back in like 1920 or 10 or something. I don't know, a long time ago. And Wally Gates, he's been around for a long, long time. But there's a lot of other good barbecue places. If you're a barbecue restaurant in Kansas City, you've got to be good, because otherwise you're not going to be in business very long.
You just won't survive.
Because there's way too many good barbecue restaurants. Now, to me, Joe's is the best, but
I know where we live, there's a lot of average to mediocre barbecue, and then there's a couple of places that are really shining little stars, and they're kind of hidden too. Ours are. They're not, I guess, as well known. I know there's a place called Fargo's, and they've made some of those big lists, of like barbecue places in Texas, but it still seems to be a secret, and I can't understand why, because their stuff, like you talked about burnt ends, they do rib tips that are really good.
Onto Interstate 35 south toward US. Highway 169 south using the upcoming right lane.
Something rare for barbecue is that it's pretty affordable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's so many good ones, like I said, it depends on where you're from. If you're from Texas, you might love Texas barbecue better than Kansas City barbecue, but I've never had anybody complaining about, the barbecue in Kansas City. People that have tried it, I've never heard anybody say, "Oh yeah, I went to Q39 or I went to Joe's and they sucked." Yeah, no. That's what I tell everybody though. If you don't know exactly what you want, if you want ribs, you want brisket, you want chicken, you want, whatever.
In 2 miles, take left exit 1B onto West 27th Street. In 2 miles, take left exit 1B onto West 27th Street.
Okay, I probably should have turned there. No, this is right. Okay, sorry. But yeah, just get the platter. Order the platter. It has a little bit of everything on it.
Yeah.
That way you get to sample different kinds of meat.
It's very seldom I go to some place that I think the food wasn't good. Usually I'll have at least something that's pretty darn good no matter where I go.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times, especially you're traveling, coming up here, first time in Kansas City, you don't know anything from anything.
Yeah.
You don't know what's the best and what's the worst and stuff like that. But like I said, with those, the big three, and, like I said, you want to throw Bryant's and Gates in with that, which I've definitely, those guys are good. I've eaten both of those places numerous times. In fact, I think when Bill Clinton was the president, he came to Kansas City, and he ate at one of the two. I'm not sure. And then when Barack Obama came in, he came to Kansas City for something, and he ate at the other one. One of them ate at Bryant's and one of them ate at Gates. I'm not sure who ate where, but I know that both of our presidents, when they came into town, ate at those two places. So, they're
In 1 mile, take left exit 1B onto West 27th
they're
Street.
kind of a mainstay. And like I said, those two pretty much started the barbecue phenomena, or if you will, or whatever, in Kansas City.
You, and forgive me if I say this incorrectly, you look like a breakfast guy to me.
Look at me, I like all kinds of
Well,
food,
as you say, you look like the fellas I always see sitting in the diner.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big diner fan. I love them.
I love
Pancake houses. I love waffle houses. Just kind of those kind of places. One, I love the food, and two, there's just something about being in like a greasy spoon, the atmosphere, the smell. It just makes me feel comfortable.
I agree with you, brother. I agree.
So, what's your go-to if you're gonna get breakfast in Kansas City? What's your favorite?
Well, I'm from Olathe, and usually when I go to breakfast, it's somewhere in Olathe.
Then keep right onto West 27th Street.
You got the normal, like the Big Biscuit, which is awesome. I don't know if you ever had that or not. Big Biscuit is, oh, God, they got some good food and plenty of it, and it's affordable. And but there in Olathe, there's a Mom's Diner, and there's an old 56 Highway diner. And those two, like I said, I moved to Olathe in 1970, and I started high school when I was, 10th grade. Back then it was just 10, 11, 12. And the summer of my 9th grade, 10th grade, we moved to Olathe. And Mom's Diner and old 56 Highway Diner have been there. They were there long before I got there, and they're still there. And they've got some really good food, too. So, like I said, big biscuits. Oh.
All right, well, food-wise, if you're going to have your very favorite breakfast food, what's it going to be? What's your go-to order?
Biscuits and gravy and ham.
Biscuits, gravy, and ham.
I love ham. Ham's my favorite meat of all
like
time.
where they pan fry the ham?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my wife's go-to as well.
Yeah. No, I've often told people, if the man upstairs said, okay, you can only eat one meat for the rest of your life, what would you choose? I said, well, it'd be ham,
That's so funny. Like, we only eat ham kind of on the holidays, or if we go to a restaurant and it's breakfast, my wife sees it on the menu, she'll grab it.
Yep.
That's about it. I mean, I guess we eat ham sandwiches, but not, like when I think of ham, I'm thinking like thicker cut pieces. Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I have my own smoker, so I'll smoke up like a couple of hams for Thanksgiving along with turkeys, and I'll cut, same thing for Christmas.
Sounds good.
And, I love it. I love it.
This year, every year we do deep fried turkeys. We don't do them ourselves. And we usually go for Cajun deep fried turkeys. And the place that we've found it's the best that we source them from last 2 years, I guess some kind of shortage or something. They're not going to have them this year, so we're going to have to pivot, man.
What, ham?
Turkeys, deep fried turkey.
Oh.
Turkey's so boring most of the time.
Well, yeah, you got to like it or you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, a little bit, but because, Thanksgiving and Christmas, I always, everybody comes to our house right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
The family nucleus. Because we're kind of my wife and I are kind of the patriarchs, as her parents are died, and my parents are down to just, my mom, and she's 90 years old. She can't host it, an event. So they always come to my place, and I always smoke a couple of hams, and I'll smoke one turkey, and then my wife doesn't like smoked turkey, so I'll cook one in the oven, traditional, and along with everything else you can think of.
Sounds like you guys are feeding a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you had 3 kids.
Yep.
And
7 grandkids.
7 grandkids.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a lot of mouths.
Yeah.
Are they pretty big?
It's fun though. Yeah, I've kind of got a nucleus of the older 4 got 23, 21, 21, and 19. And then I have 3 younger ones, 14-year-old boys, twins. that are identical to each
In a
other.
quarter mile, continue
And
straight
then
on
11,
7th
their little
Street,
brother is
chasing
11
the
years
left
old.
lane.
So, but yeah, it's a good life. I can't complain about anything. My wife and I have been married like 50 years. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary. Is this where you're going?
Boulevard Brewing Company.
Well, this is Boulevard Brewing. But enjoy your time. When are you going back?
Tomorrow afternoon, or actually tomorrow about lunchtime, I think.
Okay.
This is an in and out job.